Gonna wait another second for people to join the Zoom. All right, guys, welcome back to this month's workshop. This workshop, we're going to be talking about breath work. Okay. So, what is breath work? The types of breath work and why it matters, the anatomy and the science of breathing, breath work and the vagus nerve, the breath brain and spine connection, and breath work and chiropractic. So, to begin with, we're going to be talking about what breath work actually is. So, breath work is conscious control and awareness of one's breathing patterns. Breathwork is a profoundly effective breathing tool and therapeutic process that activates the body's natural healing, promotes self-exploration and self-awareness, offers a path to conscious personal transformation. So, breathwork, you're consciously controlling your breathing pattern. Breathing is one of the functions that we consciously do, that we unconsciously do, sorry. However, we can actually consciously control it in order to shift how our body heals and how it feels. So, why breath matters? So, we breathe an estimated 20,000 times per day. Every breath shapes our posture, neurology, and perception. So, our breath is the bridge between our body and the mind. It's the only autonomic process we can consciously control, just like what I said before. So, every breath influences your heart rate, your blood pressure, your spinal alignment and rib motion, vagal tone and stress regulation, oxygenation, and cellular repair. So there's a lot of things that breath actually influences that you might not actually think about. So benefits of breath work. So breath work, it releases stress, anxiety, depression. It shifts unhelpful beliefs and entrenches habits and behavior patterns. Supports confident, conscious choices in the decision-making process. Breaks through an entrenched emotional blocks in order to navigate change and embrace our full potential. It improves self-awareness and the ability to reprogram behaviors for greater presence and joy in life. It boosts mood, it decreases high blood pressure, and it deepens relaxation as well. It helps with symptoms of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It improves alertness, focus, and memory. It increases heart rate variability, and it promotes creativity, promotes quality sleep, soothes emotional associations with grief and trauma, reduces symptoms of anxiety and depression, reduces symptoms of asthma, and reduces symptoms of stress as well. So now we're going to be talking about the science and anatomy of breathing. So the anatomy of breathing. So the main structures that are involved in breathing include the diaphragm, the intercostal muscles, so the muscles which sit within the rib cage, accessory muscles of respiration, and thoracic spine and rib cage as well. So during inspiration, the diaphragm and external intercostal muscles contract, causing the rib cage to expand and move outwards, and expanding the thoracic cavity and lung volume. So this creates a lower pressure within the lung than that of the atmosphere, causing air to be drawn into the lungs. During expiration, the diaphragm and intercostals relax, causing the thorax and lungs to recoil. Okay, so the science behind breath work. So there's two key nervous systems that we have, including the sympathetic, which is the fight or flight, and the parasympathetic, which is the rest and digest. So sympathetic, which is when we're breathing, it has fast, shallow upper chest breathing, which is going to cause stress and tension. And then we have parasympathetic breathing, which slows us down. We have deep breathing. We have diaphragmatic breathing, which aims to create calmness and regulates our nervous system as well. So what the research shows is slow nasal breathing activates the vagus nerve, which we're going to talk about in a second, which increases our heart rate variability and emotion regulation. So CO2 tolerance training improves oxygen utilization, which is known as the Bohr effect. Breath retention and exhalation length modulates cortical and limbic activity within the brain. So there's a large brain and neurological component to what breath work, conscious breath work control can actually achieve. And nasal breathing produces nitric oxide, which improves vascular tone and inflammation control as well. So there's a few things that actually breath work can actually improve based on the research as well. So breath work and the vagus nerve. So this is what I was talking about before. So the vagus nerve is cranial 10 and it carries 80% afferent, which means that sensory receptors to the brain. So senses, touch, feel, smell. So receptors on the skin send messages to the brain and body to brain fibers. So that's exactly what they are. So the vagus nerve carries 80% of sensory receptors to the brain. So that means a large portion of the vagus nerve is actually stimulated by what we do with our senses. So diaphragmatic motion and slow exhalation mechanically stimulates the vagus nerve, which sends calming feedback to the brainstem. So diaphragmatic breathing is going to activate our parasympathetic nervous system as well, from what we know. So literally pressing your stomach, pushing your stomach outwards and inwards when we're breathing, as opposed to breathing through our rib cage. So slowing that process down stimulates that vagus nerve, which creates a calming and relaxation feedback loop to the brainstem. So the stimulation activates the parasympathetic nervous system, like what we said. It lowers heart rate and blood pressure. It decreases stress hormone output, like cortisol. It enhances digestion, immune function, and healing response. So we know that when we're in a sympathetically dominant state, our body is going to suppress the immune system, the digestion system, and the healing response because it's too worried about trying to get away from the bear that's chasing us. So we're in that fight or flight response where we're going to be focusing in on getting out of danger, which means that there's going to be more inflammation promoted within the body. So the concept of breath work in the vagus nerve is that we're trying to regulate our nervous system, so getting it out of a sympathetically dominant state, and we're trying to regulate our stress. We're trying to increase and enhance digestion. We're trying to lower our heart rate and blood pressure, so that our body's able to ultimately heal and self-regulate itself much better. So types of breath work. So we've got diaphragmatic breathing. So this involves deep belly breathing, placing a hand on the belly and chest, deep breathing through the nose, focusing in on pushing the belly outwards, and deep exhale out through the mouth, focusing on the belly sinking back in. So I'd be going like this, for instance. So hand on chest, hand on belly, deep breath in, and breath out. And focusing in on pushing my stomach inwards, outwards on the breath in, and back inwards on the breath out. We're going to do box breathing. So inhaling and holding for 4 seconds, exhaling and holding for 4 seconds. And we've got alternate nasal breathing. So that is shown to improve lung function, lower heart rate, improve blood pressure, and the sympathetic response as well. So close the right nostril and place a thumb and inhale through the left nostril very slowly. And then at the top of the breath, pause, briefly hold both nostrils, close for a moment, then exhale through the right nostril. You're then going to repeat this process back and forth. And ultimately, again, the goal is to be regulating your nervous system. So all these methods here are very effective breathwork methods, which have shown to, again, bring us into a state of relaxation, out of inflammation, and getting our body healing and functioning at its best. So now we've got types of breathwork again. So we've got the Wim Hof breathing method. So that basically requires us to do deep breathing through the nose and out through the mouth continuously in a cyclical pattern, followed by breath retention holds. And we have the 4-7-8 technique. So we take a breath in, exhale through the mouth, with a whoosh sound, close the mouth and inhale quietly through our nose to a mental count of 4. So hold for a count of 7, exhale completely through your mouth with a whoosh to the count of 8. Repeat this cycle for at least 4 breaths. So we now move into the breath, brain, and spine connection. So the diaphragm attaches to T12 to L2, so linking breath directly to the lumbar and thoracic alignment. So if we have areas in the spine which become stuck or locked, then we know that in terms of how our rib cage moves, it's going to be moving a lot less. So restricted movement is going to be leading to restricted breath, and vice versa. If we're breathing through our chest and less through our belly, then we know that that's going to mean that we have restricted spinal movement as well. So chronic shallow breathing promotes fast forward head posture and thoracic rigidity. Chiropractic adjustments restore breathing mechanics, breathwork mechanics, which is going to be sustained as well. So we have each inhale and exhale changes the electric activity of the brain, especially in the limbic system, which is the emotional center, and prefrontal cortex, which is the executive control. So slow rhythmic breathing creates coherence between the heart, the lungs, and the brain, synchronizing autonomic function. So this coherence improves focus, calmness, neuroplasticity, which is the concept of if we apply a repetitive stimulus to our nervous system, then the body over time will adapt to that input. So similar to if you were to drive your car home for the first time to your new workplace, after about a month, you created neuroplastic changes within the brain for you to remember exactly how to maneuver from work to home. So that's what I'm talking about in regards to neuroplasticity. However, when we're applying certain stimulus to the spine, we know that that's going to be creating neuroplastic changes as well. So it's the exact same thing. Repetitive stimuli is going to help change how the brain perceives our body, where our body is basically. So enhancing how the body receives and processes sensory input from the spine and body, just like what I said. So breathwork and chiropractic. So chiropractic adjustments and breathwork both target the nervous system's ability to adapt, one through the spine and structure, the other through neurological rhythm and regulation. Both breathwork and chiropractic care influence autonomic balance, so helping shift the body from sympathetically dominant, so fight or flight, towards parasympathetic restoration, which is rest and repair. So adjustments create neurological input that restores communication between the brain and the body. Conscious breathing sustains that improved communication by stabilizing vagal tone and rhythmic balance. So there's a massive component to what chiropractic adjustments actually do in contribution with breathwork. They work very effectively hand in hand together. So after an adjustment, the body enters a more plastic, adaptable state. Slow intentional breathing helps anchor new movement patterns and stabilize spinal alignment through improved motor control and proprioception. So breath awareness increases sensory feedback to the brain, helping the nervous system map the new corrected posture more efficiently. So at Provolution Health, we see breath work and chiropractic care as two sides of the same coin. So one restores structure, the other restores state. So together, they help the body rediscover its natural rhythm of healing, adaptability, and flow as well. So reach out to the team at Provolution Health today to start realizing your full health potential. So health is not how you feel, your body can heal. So if you're interested, or you know anyone who's interested in how chiropractic care and breath work can elevate their level of health and adaptability to stress, especially in high stress work environments, then please don't hesitate to reach out to us at Provolution Health and make an appointment with us today. So we can also follow us on our socials. So at Provolution Health on Facebook and Instagram, where we have regular updates on workshops, educational content, and our community as well. And that is all for today, guys, for this workshop. So I'm going to go to the chat now to see if we have any questions. So I'm going to leave the floor open for a couple of minutes just to make sure that anyone who has any questions can ask questions. Doesn't seem like anyone has any questions. So on that note, we're going to finish up. It's been Dr. Chris Borg. Thank you for listening to this month's workshop, Breathwork, and take care and enjoy your day/evening.